Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to the Elmore County Commission work session dated Monday, August 14, 2017. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll begin with our regular business. First, the review of the minutes of the July 24, 2017 Commission meeting. Are there any adjustments or corrections to be made? All right, we'll proceed with the review of the memorandum of warrants for the period of July 20, 2017 through August 8, 2017. Ms. McDuffie?
Yes, Chairman. The amount for the period stated is $1,311,426.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll proceed with old business. This has been carried over from previous meetings. The discussion of the board appointment to the Elmore County Economic Development Authority, which is due today. The candidate that has been submitted to us is Sharon Alexander. Are there any comments or questions about Ms. Alexander or any other potential candidates?
Sharon, I'd just like to say I know Ms. Alexander, and having served on that board and having worked with her on projects previous to me having to resign to take this position, I can tell you I feel as if she would be a great asset to the ACETA board and to the IDA.
Thank you. Any others?
My only question is, which I think you just said, you recommend her. Is that not right, Commissioner?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll proceed with the discussion of the Elmore County Industrial Development Authority board appointment. And as a reminder, when we established the Industrial Development Authority Board, we have appointments from within the Economic Development Authority that are appointed by the County Commission to serve on the IDA board. This position that we're considering Sharon Alexander for would fall under that category, being the Commission's appointee to ACETA, which would also be an appointee to the Industrial Development Authority. And that is also due today, and those two appointments would go hand in hand. We'll proceed with the consideration of applicable provisions of the Elmore County Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual regarding general leave without pay. Let's begin this discussion with our county attorney. Mr. Courtney, could you address where you're at with this and what you've provided us?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I've provided some recommended language for the subject amendment. If you'd like for me to, you've got it, but if you'd like for me to read it, I'd be glad to do so. The approval is any and all, amend paragraph 11.9.6 to read 11.9.6, approval. Any and all general leaves without pay as described in paragraph 11.9.2.1 must be approved by the applicable appointing authority prior to the usage of the same. The county reserves the right to grant such retroactively for emergency situations that affect a serious health condition of a family member as defined by these policies and procedures, and or any other emergency situation deemed to be appropriate by the county. That would be my recommended language on the issue, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any comments or questions regarding this proposal?
I have one. Commissioner Reeves, what's your position?
My position is that we offer each one of our employees annual leave, sick leave, and also FMA, family medical leave, family, and I think that leave without pay shouldn't be taken unless, and most of the time, it'll be a disciplinary action. Leave without pay, like if you do something wrong, then you will get laid off, and then you get leave without pay. I don't think any employer need to take leave without pay when they got on the book vacation and annual leave that they can take. And I think that'll be abusing the system, because that's not what leave without pay is all about. And I think what we should do is identify the appointing authority, which would be the county commission. If anybody gonna be on leave without pay, we get on the agenda and bring it by the county commission. And I need to remove the appointing authority where it won't be no mistake by nobody to put county commission there.
Okay, I'll share my thoughts. I agree. We as a county, an employer of many people, we provide substantial and sufficient annual leave, sick leave, and other opportunities for our employees to either take care of themselves or their family or enjoy vacation time. I do know that there are times where an individual who maybe just started working with us for a couple of months, they haven't accrued all those days, and if they had an emergency situation with a family member or something else 2 or 3 states away, and they haven't been here for 5 or 10 years, where we have some employees who have probably hundreds of days accrued over a long period of time, and that, an individual in that situation, you know, we want to avoid abuse of that, but, you know, if the person is exhausted, every type of leave that we've provided them, and they have an emergency such as that, I would like for us to have the opportunity as a county to make that decision and the flexibility to provide that to them. But I agree, you know, we don't want to have abuse of things like that, and I don't know that we have to this point, but we've obviously left the door open with the current policy. Any other comments or questions? With regarding the appointing authority, you know, some clarification of that could be beneficial. But I would imagine that most people who have an instance where they are in dire need of leave without pay, given the circumstances I just provided, I don't know that they would have the opportunity to get on an agenda and come to a county commission meeting to seek that approval if it was truly an emergency.
But that's why we leave that up to the supervisor. It's truly an emergency. Emergency is something that you can't help. It's just like an accident. You can't, I mean, you go out and happen, an accident happened, you wouldn't happen, it wouldn't be called an accident. You did it on purpose, you know. But I think,
go ahead.
I think that whoever the supervisor is, they can make that determination and then bring it by the county commission.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is what this says, must be approved by the applicable appointing authority prior to usage of the same. So, you know, in the event that there was some type of unique circumstance,
right,
which we all agree it would have to be extreme,
right.
If that were the case, you know, we've hired and trust our department heads and people like that to make those decisions, and to represent them by calling us and saying, hey, this is what's going on, if it were, you know, in between meetings and it's a dramatic situation.
But we just want to make sure that it's something where you ain't got leave on the book, and you're going to go on leave and save that leave. That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to stop.
It has to be every one of their available annual days, sick days, it all needs to be exhausted.
Exhausted.
It's got to be at zero before we would get to that point.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
I agree with that statement. If you got annual leave or sick leave, you need to take it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then it needs to go before the supervisor. That's what you're saying, Commissioner Reeves?
Yes, and the new hire employees, they have to complete a probationary period before they even start earning anything anyway.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, we'll proceed with our new business. We'd like to invite Sheriff Bill Franklin to come forward. We've got some items to discuss with us.
All right. The first item, in 1996, we went down to our firing range that we currently utilize. We put the monies that we had accumulated in our drug asset forfeiture program, and those monies set aside, no monies from the general fund, built that particular range. At the time, we constructed about a 10-foot by 10-foot, 16 feet high, a range house where the instructor could go in and bark out orders to the people on the field. That was 21 years ago. What we're trying to do now, I talked with Teresa at the Examiner of Public Accounts. The cutoff figure on us having to present this to y'all as far as spending our own money is $50,000. There's a good chance we might run just above that. I have solicited the help of Mr. Bayer, and I think there's a bidding process that he's going to try to assist us with. But first and foremost, I want to get y'all's approval. This would involve just putting a range house down there, somewhere around 28 by probably 38, thereabouts, 28 feet by 38 feet. We've got a compressor that fits in there, and when we tear this other one down, we've got to make arrangements to keep it under roof. But I think we can do it, but it's a bidding process that we're going to have to go through. We just can't get somebody to do it because the cutoff is $50,000 on us expending our money from our fund.
So all the funds would be coming from the forfeiture?
That's correct, Mr. Stubbs. It'd probably be coming from 2 or 3 funds that we've able to leave alone for a while and build up. We've been talking about this for probably 5, 6, 7 years, and we've gotten to the point where we think we can do that. It's probably still going to take a while, but we just want y'all's permission to try to do that. It's on the same existing site, even the same site where the 10 by 10 is right now.
Any comments or questions regarding the range house? All right.
Okay, if y'all are familiar with the entrance to the jail, we went in July 1995. There's been some talk about one day if we added on, it would be just to the right of the ramp coming up, possibly an annex of some type. That's not what I'm here about, but just on the left side near the flagpole, we would like to put a small monument that's approximately 22 inches deep by 88 inches wide. It would pretty much signify the 3 fallen deputies that we've had in 1906, 1917, and 2014. It's taken about 2 years for us to go back and forth with the Ingram Memorial, who we talked to, and trying to get some engraving done, and we're going to have the monument. And there again, not general fund monies. These were money spent by us. But we just want permission to be able to have them, see if y'all would allow us to place that monument there in front of the jail. We looked and we think it's the best site. It's not anything where there's going to be any construction there. It's pretty much too close to the sidewalk. I don't think you can get anything from the front of the jail there to the sidewalk. But it sets back off the sidewalk probably 10 or 12 feet, catty corner. But I think it'll look real nice. We'll probably have a little dedication up there if y'all would allow us to do that. But there again, no general fund monies on that either. That's monies that we've got set aside for that.
Any comments or questions regarding that?
Mr. Sheriff, I think that's a good idea to remember the people that put their life on line for the citizens here in Elmo County.
I appreciate that. It was brought to our attention back when Mr. Hart died, and we had always heard that there was one, but I got 2 different stories. Come to find out, there's 2 actually different deputies, one in 1906 and one in 1917. Right. Actually, the newspaper said they tethered their horses outside the courthouse. You know, some of the articles. It was a very interesting article. But I appreciate that.
I think it's a great idea too. Other cities do it and other counties do it, so we should be doing it.
Well, we knew there were some monuments out here, but we thought the best place to do that would probably be in front of the jail up there.
Right.
Great, thank you. Next item.
Yeah. This is something that probably the last police department that we haven't included. It's just an inclusion with the Tallahassee Police Department. We have, through the examiners and them asking us to secure these contracts, we got one with Eclectic, Casada, Wetumpka, Millbrook. The last one to come on board has been Tallahassee, and the reason being is because Tallahassee actually housed their own inmates here to very recently. We've been talking back and forth for probably 6 months to a year. I told them their order of protocol, they needed to go through their city council to make sure that they were okay with our written contract. and if they approved it, then I would submit it to y'all for approval. It is a mirror image of the others that we use for some of the other cities. Pretty much the exact same language almost. But we had to back it up, and instead of it starting August 1st, we told them to put a starting date of September 1st. So I talked to Leela and I talked to Grace, and I think we've got that on board, if that's okay with y'all.
Okay. Any questions or comments regarding that? Now, did you have one additional item?
Yes, sir, I had one small item. That is, in the event we were able to secure any kind of help, we're trying to get out in front of the situation here to where if we were able to take our funds from the 723 fund that we haven't touched in quite some time. I think the last time we touched any of those funds, it was to help us with our communication system. And I think we put about close to $78,000 out of it then. That was years ago. What I'm trying to do is take just enough monies out of that to let us get 2 cars. One will go to investigations and one will go to patrol. Those monies, again, will not come out of the general fund. That's monies that we've got that come out of the 723 fund. The only reason I'm here is because I think the language says that the money can be spent at my discretion with the approval of the county commission.
That's correct. Are any of the commissioners object to that being on our business portion of our meeting tonight? That added
No, we go
item?
ahead and add it.
No problem.
No
It's
objection.
going to take a couple of months to get them anyway, but we're trying to get them off state bid.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Sheriff.
Appreciate it.
All right. I'd like to invite Ms. Cynthia Brown from the Heritage Training and Career Center. Please come forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm Cynthia Brown. I'm the Executive Director of Heritage Training and Career Center. And I am here...
Pull the microphone.
Okay.
There we
He
go.
was a little tall, wasn't
Yeah.
Okay, I am Cynthia Brown with Heritage Training and Career Center. And I just want to appeal to you that Heritage Training and Career Center is doing innovative services here in Elmore County. Actually, we were founded in 2007, and we're a 501c3 organization. We're nonprofit and we're community-based. We were founded out of the need for Elmore County to receive the same services that other surrounding cities were receiving for years. I worked at agencies where they were getting grants to do job readiness, job training, how to dress for success, computer training, job placement services. And Elmore County was written up in those grants because usually they were written as a tri-county area grant. Autauga, Elmore, Montgomery, but Montgomery got all the services and Autauga got some of the services, but Elmore County got very little of those services for their residents. So working with those agencies and living in Elmore County, I thought it was time for Elmore County to get some of those same services and get it directly. And as a result, we've been doing that for the last 10 years. And I'm very proud of that. Also, we've been able to do some direct services to the community for individuals that was not a part of the low-income community. Case in point was the OLAF donation. We did it for every daycare center, every church, every community center. Anybody who wanted an OLAF got an OLAF for their children and seniors. We did nursing homes, and we did several other agencies who were able to benefit from that. But I wanted to appeal for your support for Heritage Training and Career Center because we are supporting Elmore County in a unique way. We're also very proud of the other services that we provide, for instance, clothing, new clothing for children, new clothing for individuals who are trying to find employment, and we're providing transportation for the TANF population to work, to class, to training. Wherever they need to go, DHR is supporting us and helping us get that done. So we're providing transportation for them as well. So we don't just place them on a job and leave them. We provide them transportation so that they can get to and from their jobs. And that goes up to a year, and DHR supports us with that. However, they don't support everything, but so we're asking if you would please consider Heritage Training and Career Center when you're thinking tonight and don't have anything else to think about Heritage. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? We do appreciate you coming tonight and sharing all this information. There's a lot here for us to have the opportunity to look through about the things that you do, and we appreciate the service and that you render for the community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll proceed, if Miss Alicia Roper from the Family Resource Center, if you'd come forward. Cammie, you can come forward too and wave.
Good evening. We're here. I'm Alicia Roper with the Elmore County Family Resource Center. We are in the process of launching this brand new resource center. We have been working with the Alabama Network of Family Resource Centers. They're a group that are coordinated out of the state, at the state level. They have legislation, and we're in the process of working on getting our approval to be part of that group. I'm happy to have here with me tonight Cammie Blackman. The Commission has been so gracious in the past to provide money for the Resource Center that we're now able to have a part-time executive director position. So Cammie will be our new feet on the ground in Elmore County to work to bring services to our community. We're wanting to look at our needs in our community, find out what gaps are in the services provided here, and find those needed services and bring them to our county. And of course, work with all the partners here that are already doing those services. So Cammie, I don't know if you want to add anything too? I think you got it.
Where will you have a physical location in Elmore County, an office here? Where is that going to be?
We are working on that.
Okay.
We are working on that.
Yes, that's part of we've kind of started from the ground up, but feel like we have something that other counties around us have. Autauga County, Montgomery County, other surrounding counties have resource centers, and we would like to have one in our county. So.
Thanks. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Will this office be specifically for Elmore County, or will it include Chilton and the Tri-County area?
No, it is specific to Elmore County and will serve all of our cities here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate
you
you coming.
Thank you.
All right. We'd like to invite Mr. Richard Fryer. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, sir, you did.
All right.
Thank you.
And how do you pronounce the company name? Mobility?
Mobility, yes, sir.
Okay.
I've got a handout. Is it better just...
Yeah, give it to Kim and she can pass it down to us.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to present before the Commission. Just real quick, Mobility has been around for about 15 years. We provide data services for all the major carriers. Some of our more notable data projects have been the 9/11 Memorial up in New York, Churchill Downs, Kentucky Derby, where you've got several 100,000 people in a site and you're able to still use wireless data where you're at. We also work with a multitude of projects coast to coast. This project that we're talking about tonight is rollout of a small cell system. This is a comprehensive coast to coast project. Actually, beyond coast to coast, we have a couple of sites in Hawaii and we have a couple in Puerto Rico as well. We're excited to include Elmore County in this initial rollout. I represent most of the state for this project. We have permitted in Dale County, Montgomery County, Blount County, Colbert County, Piedmont, Brent, a number of other places. But this is to boost the current cellular network as we know it for data services, not voice, but for data. And it is to sort of lay the groundwork for 5G, which will be the next phase of cellular as we know it. Currently out there for cellular, it's a 30-year-old system. It started off as a voice system and provides it today. Data was added to that at a later time, and this current project is solely data. So in addition to the cellular component, it does provide a wireless broadband. It's a lot cheaper install than traditional broadband where you're trying to lay cable or fiber. This is a utility pole in the right-of-way, and it does, again, provide a wireless signal. There are a lot of things that use data, and that's sort of the need for this upgrading the system. The handout that I've provided shows you a 6.5-fold increase in the demand for data. As everything from household appliances to farmers' irrigation equipment to the next new car that you buy, everything's connected, everything's using data. So it is a strong demand on the current system. And again, this is a very low-cost way to bring data to areas that, you know, it is very costly to run miles and miles of wire. So we are very excited about this project. What we have proposed for the location for Elmore County is a transport site. It has a satellite backhaul component on it. From that, we can add additional small cell sites, like we have pictured here, where we have a standard utility pole or an attachment on a typical street light for providing that wireless data. We are accredited with recognized by the Public Service Commission as a CLAC, as we have set ourselves up as a utility to be able to work with cities and counties to be in the right-of-way for this project. Again, providing services to the citizens, the small businesses and institutions of the area.
Okay. Well, I have a series of questions for you. I think we as a county commission and as a county as a whole, we have a very diverse distribution of citizens in terms of density of population. We have certain pockets and areas of our county where you know, you stand on somebody's front porch and you can't see your neighbor any direction, and then other areas where it's high density. And so we have definite needs for internet services specifically to reach all of the citizens, primarily because it's, you know, becoming the fifth utility in the sense that there's an expectation and a need for that. I'm curious, you mentioned Montgomery County, that you're permitted there. Is there a specific project or area of Montgomery County that you are currently operating, or are you just permitted there to do that?
No, we have a couple of sites permitted for Montgomery County. One site is over by the Mobilis plant in Hyundai for an initial site, and then about a mile and a half south of that there's an additional site as well. One that's exactly like the one that we're asking for here for this county. Is there
do you have a specific density requirement for, you know, population?
We do not. As we sit here today, your cell phone is transmitting data back to the amount of coverage that it's providing, the signal strength, if you will, indoor, outdoor, and where you're at. So the carriers know what the signal strength is. So that to supplement that is that initial rollout. A lot of places around the state, you know, Elmore County is certainly not unique in that there are areas that are broadband deficient, that are internet deficient. But for this initial rollout, you know, this is sort of adding infrastructure to boost this initial rollout. So yes, as I drive around parts of the state, there are areas where there is no data coverage. And you know, this would be one of those areas that is certainly deficient for data coverage. We do have this initial rollout, and then we are certainly growing this. So, you know, we are working collaboratively with cities and counties throughout the state. I mentioned, you know, multiple counties. We also have City of Montgomery. We have City of Brent, Birmingham. We're working with Huntsville. I don't represent the Gulf Coast area, which would include Mobile, but we're certainly working with them, as well as working with jurisdictions all over the country, you know, all the major cities and a lot of rural places in between. So this is not certainly, you know, not just Elmore County, not the state of Alabama, but this is a comprehensive project. And it is, as the city manager of Dothan mentioned in a meeting, turns and asked, is this the future of cellular? And we believe it is. You know, mobility provides a wireless backhaul that's moving the data. So instead of moving it through, you know, fiber or cable wire, we have a mini microwave, and we're moving the data wirelessly. So this is capturing and sending with the satellite, and then there's a wireless movement of the data as well.
Mr. Farr, you mentioned of course you got the satellite, and then you've given us a picture here of this antenna on the pole.
The small cells, yes.
So tell me, how will that look? Will you have a satellite somewhere grabbing a signal, transmitting it to this antenna? The satellite's close to the antenna. How would this look? Do you have a fiber line running somewhere, or
This one is
where do
not.
you get your service from?
All we need is an electrical connection to this initial site. Technology has allowed all of the equipment to be on the pole itself. You know, traditional layout for cellular was a compound with the big structure and the ground equipment, you know, storm shelter, computer, backup generator, all that good stuff. This technology allows everything to be on the pole itself. You've got the satellite dish, you know, that's running the data, and then you've got a cellular antenna as well that is providing the send and receive for the area.
So
the devices for the area.
So your satellite and your antenna that will be transmitting the signal that the customer would acquire, would that be on existing poles, or would you be installing additional utility poles?
This initial site, working with Mr. Byer that we had proposed, is a utility pole in the right of way. It's a 110-foot pole that's in the right of way. And it, again, would have this equipment on it. Now, from that, we could branch additional small cell, like we have pictured here.
So would you have to go from, in order to move that service down the road or acquire that same service down the road, do you have to have, you know, line of sight, or?
Well, from that one initial transport pole, then we can add additional small cells and sort of grow that range with the mini microwave.
So if you were going to locate it in Elmore County, where would you say would be one of your, in light of the fact we have some rural areas that we hear all the time, our cable company will not run a line down my road, have no access to broadband. Where do you see as a great place for you to locate to capture some of that?
This initial site is up in Wedowee. It's near the marina, and it would, of course, provide about a 1 to 2 mile range from that, and then we would grow. And then as we close out this initial build out, we'll have additional sites next year throughout the state. We're looking to triple our sites for 2018.
Commissioners, it's actually Kalijah, not Wedowee.
Yeah.
Get your lake community.
Okay. That was my next question.
Kalijah.
So what you're asking us to do is to allow you to put poles on our right of way, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
That's basically what you're asking.
Yes, sir. And we're not able to, my understanding under Alabama law, and not standing before you giving legal advice, counties, just from our experience, counties aren't set up to do a franchise. The cities are set up to do a franchise fee, and we have worked out franchise agreements similar to a cable company with the various cities throughout the state. But in addition to providing the services for your citizens, we can allow a county, and we did this with Blount County, we put language in the permit that allowed them to put on like a repeater for their emergency services. So basically having the power and having the system there, they could simply add on to that existing pole. A lot cheaper install for adding communication, first responder communication equipment.
Who regulates the cost to the customer?
That would be by the Public Service Commission regulates the fees. This is you can imagine this is a much cheaper way to go than traditional cellular, being on private property. You put $250,000 to $500,000 install. 10 years later, that carrier is sort of over a barrel by the landowner on what they're going to pay for rent, and it's thousands of dollars a month. This being a utility pole in the right-of-way, it's a $10,000 to $15,000 install. It can be moved within a week's notice if there's a road widening or something else. So it's a very cost-effective, very efficient way to bring services. And as this goes nationwide, you'll see the cost come down and you'll see the service improve. This initial site is Sprint that we're working with. But we do work with all the major carriers. It's kind of fluid in that business. T-Mobile and Sprint are talking about merging. They have before. Maybe it'll happen this time. I don't know. We do have some T-Mobile sites in Texas for some rural areas in Texas. Verizon is interested in some of our rural areas in this state. So we've been in some other parts of the southeast. We've been talking with Verizon. We can co-locate additional carriers. We're also talking with, you had mentioned the cable company, we are also talking with some content providers to provide additional service as well. So anything that can access the wireless data, whether it, cell phone, a vehicle, a hotspot, for a vehicle, a house or a small business that would provide that sort of a Wi-Fi service can tie into this.
Okay, Mr. Fryer, what I'd like to do, you've provided a lot of great information and we appreciate it. There are some moving parts in something like this with respect to franchise agreements and right-of-ways and everything else, and we would like to provide our county attorney with an opportunity to review some of that. But I would like to ask Commissioner Mercer, who he's our liaison for economic development, which I consider a lot of this to be economic development, and encourage you to, and I'll encourage him to work with you to coordinate a time to meet along with ACETA and see if we can find some more information along with Richie Byer, our county engineer, and our attorney to identify if this is something that we would like additional information on, and in the meantime we'll may solicit some contact from some of these other counties and cities that you've mentioned so that we can do some additional due diligence on it. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Quick questions.
Yes, sir.
Is your service affected by weather, bad weather, storms?
Not like you, and that's a good question. You're considering like a DirecTV satellite dish with a cloud cover. This is more of a commercial grade, so it's going to be a much stronger signal. If you had a hurricane, you may have some temporary loss of service, but whereas maybe $100 for a satellite dish that has to go through the cloud cover, this is several $1,000s of equipment as far as that initial connection. So you're going to have a stronger satellite signal.
Would you carry digital content?
We would like to, yes, sir. This is Sprint initially as a provider, but we're again work with other providers on this that are very interested in this project. As it
any
goes out.
limitations on from the pole to the residence? The coverage.
The coverage initially for this site would be about a 2-mile range, and that there's other factors. There's topography. There is number of people that are drawing on it. There's a lot of factors that go into the wireless coverage.
Thank
you.
Mr. Fryer, Lisa Finley is our executive director of ACETA. She's sitting right here in the third row. If I could, let me get you to talk with her before you leave, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fryer.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll proceed with the discussion of 2 E911 board appointments due 9/25/2017. These are both reappointments of Eric Jones, our EMA director, and Sheriff Bill Franklin, who both have served in this capacity and are definitely assets to the E911 board. Any comments or questions regarding that? That is due in about a month's time. And discussion of 3 DHR board appointments due 9/25/2017. We have candidates Julie Daprich, Jan Wood, and Jim Kennedy, 2 of which are reappointments. Any comments or questions on those 3? Okay, moving on, consideration of the resolution recognizing the 130th anniversary of Second Missionary Baptist Church. Commissioner Reeves, where's the location of that church?
It's right. That's 111, but what's it called 111 when you cross the bridge?
Highway?
Bridge Street or what? Hopeful Highway. It was right there just before you get to the cemetery, right?
Okay. All right. Great. So they'll be celebrating the 130th anniversary. Any comments or questions regarding that? All right. Proceeding, we have the discussion of the ACCA Legislative Committee appointment. We've been contacted by the Association of County Commissions to appoint an individual from our county commission to serve on the Legislative Committee, which is an opportunity for us to participate in that legislative process that the county commissions collectively throughout the state with certain initiatives that we're seeking. And we've been asked to appoint one of our commissioners to do that. Are there any comments or questions regarding that? You all should have received an email, and there's also information in here. my inclination on this, based on recent experiences and going through the recent legislative session, my recommendation for that would be Commissioner Mercer to participate and on that committee to provide some dialogue with the ACCA and trying to determine what our initiatives will be for the upcoming legislative session. Any other comments or questions?
I think that's a good selection.
Commissioner Mercer just has the hustle. You know, he's got the hustle. I mean, the guy sells flowers. He can do anything, right?
Amen.
All right. All right. Okay.
I would step up to the plate for sure. Thank you for the confidence.
Okay, let's proceed to consider establishing a policy for use of courthouse courtroom for special events. This was recently brought to our attention. We've had a few individual requests. It's not frequent, but we do have people who would like to hold organizational meetings in this room. It is large. It's a great place to be. We have also had some inquiries about weddings being held in here after hours, not during the business day. So when we receive these inquiries, I look to try to find a policy that we have on how we handle those things, and it doesn't exist. So we can take an opportunity to discuss, how we may handle some of those requests. It's not to say there haven't been things like that done in here. There have been several meetings and things like that, and we just need to come up with a way in which we can manage that without putting unnecessary burdens on our staff after hours, or the protection and safety of the building, the liability that we may incur with the use of this building. So are there any comments or questions on that?
Mr. Chairman, I think you'd be the right one to do this and bring it back to the commission, since you did. You're our chairman, so let's work some up and bring it back to us. Let us look at it. If you don't mind, please.
Oh, yeah. I'll be happy to come up with a proposed policy.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we can do. Let's we'll talk about it later, but we'll talk about it in the business section, but we can get something together, have us all review it. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention in the event that you get asked those types of questions from people. We definitely want to have a fair and equitable response to all interested parties.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, we'll proceed. Discuss awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW1, combination curb and gutter sidewalk miscellaneous concrete work to the lowest responsible bidder. Mr. Byer, is that for this building, just outside of?
Well, actually, it is our first annual bid that will fall under the Public Works Act. The examiners have come back and told us that our annual contracts that have been in place for years and years are now under review if it's a service matched with the material. And so part of the discussion is about the auxiliary work that needs to be done around the annex concrete-wise. We had some in-place curb and gutter bids, but nothing for sidewalk and miscellaneous concrete. So in advance of our annual bid process for 2018, FY 2018, this was needed to be done in the interim to take effect this month and be able to work until the end of next year. So I believe we've got everything worked out with the auditors in terms of the language. We've submitted that to them, and everything was fine. We had one bidder. You'll have that in your packet out of the number that, which is not uncommon for this type of work for us. It's sporadic, depending on what's going on with the economy. But if y'all award this tonight, we'll be in a position to go ahead and authorize work around the annex over the next couple of weeks and try to meet our deadline to have the building open in the next month and a half, 2 months. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, proceeding, consider reapproving resolution to widen, level, resurface, and traffic stripe Coosa River Road from Alabama 143 north, 5.8 miles to Lightwood Road.
Mr. Chairman, just on the next three items, all these are resolutions that were approved in the past. We have money that's set aside in the MPO for these projects that will take place in FY18. We're trying to execute the construction plans and get them ready to go to construction. And one thing ALDOT requires is that you have to have a resolution on file that's less than 3 years old. So all three of these are funded projects of the MPO, stuff that y'all have seen before. It's just we're having to go through the process of updating those. So the next two are the same exact reasoning.
Okay. So the next one, considering reapproving resolution to widen level, resurface, and traffic stripe Cusada Rucker Road from Blackwell Drive north 2.7 miles to Alabama 14. And the final one, consider reapproving resolution to widen level, resurface, and traffic stripe Kennedy Avenue from Cusada Road north 1.2 miles to Airport Road. All three of those are reapproving existing resolutions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll proceed with the consent docket. The first item is approving the travel memorandum. Any comments or questions? We also have approved proposed plat for Russell Cabins at Ridge, Plat 3. Approved Family Medical Leave Act request for Courtney Clements, Business Personal Property Appraiser, effective 10/3/17. Approved Family Medical Leave Act request for David Lockhart, Equipment Operator 2, effective 8/1/17. And approved Family Medical Leave Act request for Alma Walker Sims, Tag Clerk, effective, what's the date on that? Oh, just July 2017. Personnel notifications, notification of resignation of Savannah Allen, Part-Time Corrections Officer, effective 8/3/17. Notification of resignation of Andrew Boschel, Jr., Mechanic, effective 7/24/17. Notification of resignation of Katie Carey, Tag Clerk, effective 8/4/17. Notification of hire of Carolyn Tulane Carter, Tag Clerk, replace C. Womble, effective 8/7/17. Notification of termination of Andrea Narstead, Corrections Officer, effective 7/21/17. Notification of hire of Taylor East, Corrections Officer, replace A. Narstead, effective 7/27/17. Notification of transfer of Julie Lawrence, Revenue Commissioner, to Emergency Management Agency Program Coordinator to fill the vacant position, effective 8/6/17. Notification of resignation of Cameron Ricks, Part-Time Corrections Officer, effective 8/1/17. Proceeding with reports to the Commission.
I have a question on the notification.
Yes, sir.
My question is the same, is making sure that since we I know in the Sheriff Department and some of the people, do we do a continual advertising for vacancies that occur in Elmo County? Or we just do notification and don't put it out where nobody can apply for a job? How do we do this now?
Well, right outside Kimberly's door is a bulletin board that has jobs posted there. I know I've seen some of your jobs posted right there on a sheet of paper. I know they're also, how else are they advertised or published?
The county website is another avenue, and it does sometimes get posted in the paper depending on what the positions are and how you're trying to reach for specific jobs. So I will say that continuous, we also have continuous ones, if you recall when you were on the commission. The operators 1, 2, and 3 that we have turnover in, other than I think the Sheriff's Department, those are the only other ones that we're taking applications all the time.
And so we continue to take application on tag clerks and stuff too? I mean, what I'm trying to say is, if we don't continue to take, do we advertise them like we're supposed to?
Yeah, I mean, we have specific requirements.
I mean, I'd like to see the records or somewhere we advertise some of the ones that's not continuing. I know, like with the Sheriff Department, some other departments, you can come up anytime and apply for a job with the jailer and with Richie, like you say, with your people, equipment operator, and I know about this because then anybody asks me, I can come up. But then if a position come open anywhere else in the county, and we are equal opportunity employed, I think everybody should have an equal opportunity to apply. Now, I'm just going to say, well, yeah, I advertise, but I like to see where we advertise sometimes, because I know I'd be questioning about the jobs that come open, and I know I sent quite a few to you, Richie, and Eric. But, I mean, some people ask me the question, and I just like to answer. And I like to see it. I mean, I know you say you post them on the door out there, you know, I
Well,
mean,
I don't do that. I mean, it's not my job.
I ain't say, I'm saying what you said. You said they are posted out there.
They are.
Yeah, okay. But then, yeah, if they posted out there, maybe we need to put something out and say that this job is going to be a continual announcement. Anybody want to apply for this, then you need to come here and apply. And we just keep the application where you can go through it. I mean, I just want a fair process to give everybody equal opportunity, because we lay ourselves out as an equal opportunity employer, and that's why we put that sign right on that board out there where you say you posted on. You know, for
Well,
the
my question is there evidence that we're not doing that?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I hadn't seen that. You know, I'm just asking a question now. I mean, I was looking
and I can
it.
appreciate that. I just want to know if we have the continual opportunities with the Sheriff's Department and other places, and we have certain policies within the county that require certain time periods for jobs to be offered to the public.
Right.
I know that we had a recent tag clerk, and Judge Enslin told me that he had over 50 applications for that job.
Okay.
So people are obviously finding the jobs and applying for them. But, you know, if we're in the process of redoing the policy manual right now, maybe we need to specify that there needs to be, you know, 3 different places that they advertise it, or something specific that we can do that.
I just want to make sure they just get out to the public where they have opportunities to do. But that's all
Right.
I have
Okay.
right now.
Well,
Okay.
Okay, proceeding with reports to the Commission, County Administrator's report. Ms. McDuffie.
I have no report tonight, Chairman, but I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Highway Department, Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, first, I appreciate the opportunity you gave Mr. Fryer to explain and answer some questions. I think there's some, as you said, there's some further things we need to discuss, and that kind of technology, along with the vehicles and infrastructure talking together as we move forward with smarter vehicles, there's a lot of changes to that we need to be very mindful of as we move forward. So I appreciate that opportunity tonight. The only other thing that I wanted to say was just give some kudos to my guys and the work that they did on Ingram Road, getting everything ready for school. I know Commissioner Mercer, Commissioner Holt, that affected their districts directly. Commissioner Reeves had a little bit of overlap, but they worked very hard over the last couple of weeks to get that open, and luckily we hadn't heard much about it, which is a good thing because it got open and got ready to go. But they worked very hard for that, and a couple of the guys that are sitting behind me were major parts of that, along with the crews that were out there, and I appreciate the interest by the commissioners too. I know Commissioner Mercer was out there several times talking up the troops and helping us get the message out. So hopefully what we're trying to push out with the help of Kim is also working good for y'all to be able to get the message out on all those road projects. So it's just a little bit different process than we've done before, and I think y'all should be commended for that and the way you're trying to communicate. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have in the way of report. Do y'all have any questions of me?
Was it you or Commissioner Mercer that took the YouTube video of the work out there?
Which one? The aerial version?
The one that made me almost sick watching it. 'Cause
that was Luke in the air with a drone. So.
I felt like I was on a roller coaster.
Well, he's a brand new drone operator. So.
All right. Okay. All right, emergency management, Mr. Jones.
Certainly, yes, sir. I've got a couple of planning projects that we've been working on for quite a while that I wanted to finally say that we're completing, and that's the update of the county emergency operations plan. We are required to do the update every 2 years, and I've left a copy for each of you in your basket in the office, along with the county's hazard vulnerability assessment, the THIRA. And those are documents that we have to update on a biannual basis. We've got a new process with the State Emergency Management Agency of reporting our EMPG requirements, very similar to the way that a lot of the other grant programs with federal recovery programs such as the FEMA PA program that the highway departments utilized. And we're trying real hard right now to make that transition with the software updates and the updates that the state's making on that. So we're close to meeting those requirements for this fiscal year. I wanted to report that. We're real excited about that. We've also had a lot of interaction with our VOAD agencies. We had an excellent meeting on August the 3rd, and we're making a number of improvements to our Safer Places program with additional partners coming on board with us, and then also strengthening our mass care planning a little bit also with some of them. So we're really excited about that. There are a couple of other plans that we're working on. One of them is the safety and security plan up at the Judicial Complex. We're working on that with the county engineer, the facilities coordinator, and a number of the folks in the building up there. We're also coordinating a couple of exercises that are coming up. We've got a functional EOC exercise on a Harris Dam break exercise August the 29th with the power company. I'd like to extend an invitation to all of you, and I will be sending more information to that to each of you. And then we've got a full-scale exercise that we're beginning the planning stages with the city of Tallahassee on Tallahassee Fire, law enforcement, and the school system over there on a large full-scale exercise at the Tallahassee High School. So we're just beginning that for this fall, so I'll keep you abreast of that one as well. The other thing I really wanted to report on is we did have our webinar. I know I reported at the last meeting I was at that we were waiting on the updated Homeland Security competitive state grant application to come out. We have pushed that out to all of our stakeholder agencies. If any of you have any comments or questions from any of our stakeholder partner agencies, please send them to us. The deadline on getting those applications in is September 5th, and they have to come through our office as the Homeland Security point of contact. So please send them our way. We've had a lot of folks engage us so far on putting applications together, a lot of our first responder agencies and a couple of our public works agencies. So please don't hesitate to send them our way on those if you get any questions on them at all. But at this time, that's all I've got to report. Do y'all have any questions of me?
Okay. Thank you. All right, Mr. Courtney.
I have no report, Mr. Chairman, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody may have.
All right. Well, after this meeting, we'll give you a list of things to work on. All right.
I see that coming, Mr. Chairman. I sure do.
Okay, we'll proceed with reports from the Commission. We'll begin with Commissioner Holt.
I'd like to say I appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight. We got a better crowd than we normally do. That's a good thing. We need to have more, but I do appreciate each and every one being here. And a couple of things about our department I'd like to thank. I told Eric this, I don't want to jinx you, okay? Since I've been in office, I hadn't had a complaint about EMA. And that's a good thing, Eric. You know, we had a lot of recent rain and flooding and so forth, and I think y'all have done a good job. You need to pass it along to your people. And I told Richie, I've not had an instance yet that I didn't call him about that he didn't respond to, and I appreciate that. And I want you to tell your men that they do a good job, and ladies, we appreciate what they do. It really makes our job a little easier. As you know, Richie, we can't please everybody, but we try. So I appreciate what all of y'all do, and I want you to make sure your people understand that we do thank them for what they do. So thank you, fellas.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Just thank everybody for coming. Don't forget to go to the polls tomorrow.
Thank you. I concur. Commissioner Mercer.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to say, Richie, what a good job your contractor did on the airport road project. I know that road runs right in the middle of Commissioner Reed's district, and they got on the project, went through it pretty quick, and looks like they've done a great job, so I appreciate that. And I as well want to say to you and to your guys sitting behind you and to all your staff that worked on the Ingram Road project, I know those guys worked hard on that project. They worked some long hours. Of course, the goal was to get it open before school buses started to run, in which you guys did that. So I appreciate very much. And what Richie was mentioning was we are trying to make an effort to get information out to the general public as much as we possibly can, especially when there's something going on, such as Ingram Road closing. We had a situation 6 weeks or so ago, 2 months ago now, where Ingram Road, Redland Road was closed about 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. And Richie, am I correct in saying that is the most heavily traveled county maintained road? We tried to get ahead of that message, let people know what was going on. Had actually a very organized effort to push information out as we knew it up until 10 o'clock that night when it was open. And Ms. Erb, I believe if I'm correct, we had no complaints that were called into the commission office. I received no emails. It was in Commissioner Stubbs' district about the road being closed. And I think that's because we were able to get information out to the people and let them know what was going on and what we were trying to do to get it back open. So we are going to try to work toward that as much as we can in each situation. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Reeves?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say I appreciate everyone coming to the commission meeting to see your commission in action. Also, I want to thank the entire staff of the Elmore County Commission, our administrator, Ms. McDuffie, our engineer, and just want to thank all of y'all for what you do, and most of all, I thank God for the way this commission work together. That's all I have.
Thank you. I too appreciate all of you being here. I've got a couple of items I'd like to quickly address. One, we have today with us, if you'll raise your hand, Ms. Joanne Johnson from Hands On River Region. They do a lot across the river region, but we're making an effort to encourage more participation in Elmore County with that organization. They have an event coming up. It's 211 Salutes 911. This is they're putting together care packages for 911 dispatchers. A lot of just little goodies that they might want to have, especially so that we can acknowledge and recognize how important the job that they do is. And so I'm would encourage you all to get to know her. We're going to make sure that people know about these opportunities to serve one another here in Elmore County. The second is I will be hosting a second town hall meeting. It will be held on Tuesday, September the 19th at 6:30 p.m. at Bethel Worship Center, just out 231. I will be hosting these every other month in different parts of my district. We had almost 50 people at the last town hall meeting, which was held at Mulder Methodist Church in July. So it is not restricted to people that live in my district, but we will be talking about specific things, road projects and other things that are in the district. But if you are interested in getting more details and information about some of the things that we discuss up here, that's a great place to do that. It's very interactive, lots of questions and answers. It's very informal, but I think that people walk away with a lot more clarity and understanding and getting questions answered. So we'll continue to publish that and that information, and we'll mention that again at our next meeting. Ms. Erb, can you go through the calendar dates?
Tuesday, August 22nd through Friday, August 25th is the ACCA Annual Convention in Orange Beach. Monday, September 4th, the courthouse will be closed in observance of Labor Day. And note that our next meeting is not until Monday, September 11th at 5 o'clock with the work session and the business meeting following.
All right. Thank you. We will reconvene in a few minutes for the business session. Call the meeting to order. We'll begin with an invocation. I will offer that, following which Commissioner Mercer will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this opportunity to gather together and to exercise our freedom and rights in serving this great county. We are grateful for those who have participated in our meeting thus far and for the service that they render in the county. We are grateful for the citizens of this county and for their desire to live righteous lives and to support and encourage one another. we're grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy, and we ask Thee to bless our meeting, the remainder of our meeting this day, that we might know, and it might be clarity of mind for us to know how to best serve the citizens of the county. We ask Thee to watch over and protect the citizens and our law enforcement officers and others who serve and protect this community. We ask Thee to bless those who are struggling at this time in Charlottesville, Virginia, as they recover from the evil that took place over the weekend. We ask Thee to soften their hearts and encourage unity. And this we ask and pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Ms. Kim, will you call roll?
Commissioner Holt?
Here.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Here.
Chairman Stubbs?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
Here.
All right, proceeding with the regular business, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the July 24, 2017
Motion
Commission
approved.
meeting as presented? We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for the period July 20 through August 8, 2017?
Motion approved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve appointing Sharon Alexander to the Elmore County Economic Development Authority Board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve appointing Sharon Alexander to the Elmore County Industrial Development Authority Board? Director shall be appointed from the members of the Board of Directors of ACETA who are nominated by the Elmore County Commission.
Motion approved appointed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to approve or deny posting notice for 10 days in county offices and work areas regarding a change to the Elmore County Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual regarding general leave without pay as follows? Amend paragraph 11.9.6 to read 11.9.6, approval, any and all general leaves without pay as described in paragraph 11.9.2.1 must be approved by the applicable appointing authority prior to the usage of the same. The county reserves the right to grant such retroactively for emergency situations that affect a serious health condition of a family member as defined by these policies and procedures, and or any other emergency situation deemed appropriate by the county. In no event shall any leave without pay be utilized in instances wherein an employee has not yet exhausted any and all accrued sick and or annual leave.
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, proceeding with new business, is there a motion to approve or deny advertising Public Works bid for construction of range house at the Sheriff's Department firing range?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to approve monument at the jail for fallen deputies?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve agreement for housing Tallahassee prisoners at the jail and authorize chairman to execute?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve sheriff to purchase 2 law enforcement vehicles from Fund 723, the sheriff's discretionary fund?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution recognizing the 130th anniversary of Second Missionary Baptist Church?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve appointing Commissioner Bart Mercer to ACCA Legislative Committee?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to carry over establishing a policy for use of courthouse courtroom for special events?
Motion to carry over.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, motion to approve awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW1, combination curb and gutter and sidewalk, and miscellaneous concrete work to the lowest responsible bidder.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Motion to approve motion to approve the reapproving resolution to widen level, resurface and traffic stripe Coosa River Road, Alabama 143, north 5.8 miles to Lightwood Road.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Motion to approve the reapproving resolution to widen level, resurface and traffic stripe Cusada Rucker Road from Blackwell Drive north 2.7 miles to Alabama 14.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Motion to approve the reapproving resolution to widen level, resurface and traffic stripe Kennedy Avenue from Cusada Road north 1.2 miles to Airport Road.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to approve the consent docket?
So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully request that item number 2 on the consent docket be considered on a separate vote.
Okay. All right, so we'll pull that on the consent docket. Is there a motion to approve the proposed plat for Russell Cabins at the Ridge, Plat 3?
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Because my employer is involved in that situation, I recuse from that vote.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to approve the remainder of the consent docket as
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, proceeding with personnel notifications. Notification of resignation of Savannah Allen, part-time corrections officer, effective 8/3/17. Notification of resignation of Andrew Bushell, Jr., mechanic, effective 7/24/17. Notification of resignation of Katie Carey, tag clerk, effective 8/4/17. Notification of hire of Carolyn Tulane Carter, tag clerk, replace C. Womble, effective 8/7/17. Notification of termination of Andrea Narstedt, corrections officer, effective 7/21/17. Notification of hire of Taylor East, corrections officer, replace A. Narstedt, effective 7/27/17. Notification of transfer of Julie Lawrence, Revenue Commission, to Emergency Management Agency Program Coordinator to fill vacant position, effective 8/6/17. Notification of resignation of Cameron Ricks, part-time corrections officer, effective 8/1/17. Are there any additional reports to the Commission? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Ooh, we got a race. Let's give it to Commissioner Reeves. Who's the second?
Commissioner Daughtry.
Second.
Daughtry, second. Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Meeting adjourned.